I'm Eduard Escola. I'm here on behalf of the Menorca Iceland Council. My lecture today is about how to plan and to implement a transition agenda, or try to implement at least. We started the process of planning for our transition agenda in 2019. So we have it done for a few years ago. But we are now in a project that you have a colleague of us today, this morning, Otto, and after Alexis and Anna and Goran after. We are on a live project that is called Reset, and it's about the energy transition in rural areas in Europe. So the thing is, we are in Menorca. It's a Mediterranean island. It's so different than Sweden, so different than Iceland, so different than other things, other places. But at the end, the problems are more or less the same. So as you see here in this slide, maybe you have seen before, and later you will see it for sure. With the Reset project, we designed the 10-step ladder, which is the way to plan and then to implement the transition agenda. If you see, I will not go into details on that, but from step 1 to 8, you are planning, and the beginning and the end of the plan, it involves the politicians, so you need to have a political commitment to do it, and at the end they have to have an approval, so it's you have to do the plan to implement it. When we started the Reset project, we were in between the 8th and the 9th step of the ladder, well, we started implementation, and that's when the problems that usually appear. This is the 10-step ladder that we made at the beginning, and Anna, your colleague that will be here later, found this one. This is the same. It's in Swedish. I'm not actually learning Swedish, sorry, but are the same steps, but it's in a different picture, because just to make you know that it's not you go one step, then you go to the other, and you are always going up in the stair and just changing in order, because sometimes you are in the step 3, you go to 7, then you go up back to 2, and you are never going continuously up on the ladder. So how did we plan our transition agenda in Menorca? We thought in a frame to make our transition agenda, which are the principles you see on the left side, and in the right side, the fields of action. It means in where could we act to do the transition. We have, for example, we have nothing to do because we have any competence on that with the sea transport or with the plane transport. So it's not in our plan. We only were in the parts of the energy system where we can do something. So we defined the frame. The frames are the principles, as I said. It's the supply securities, social participation, economic viability, environmental sustainability, and landscape integration. And the fields of action, and of course you see here, electric system, households, services sector, and land transport. After setting the frame in which we have to do the transition, so we set the goals we want to achieve on 2030. So those here you see here are the goals we want to achieve. It's 85% of covering with renewables of the electric demand, reduction of fossil fuels in land transport, in users, and in primary sector. How, for example, the most easy part of it is it's easy to imagine is the renewables development. That it means photovoltaics, then photovoltaics next to the urban environments. That means most of all self-consumption, storage, and energy savings. And then what we will want to do, or what we aim to have at the end of the period, is to have the thermal plant that we have in Menorca just to be a reserve for a reserve for a support of the grid if it's needed, but we don't want it to be working. I think we cannot see it by the moment, but we keep on going. Then, when you know what you want to do, you have your objective, then you have to gather data. One of the steps in the ladder is gathering this data. Sometimes you don't have it and you have to estimate. So in our case, as Menorca is the biosphere reserve, we have some institutions that have the data we need to start the calculations, and that's what we have. Here you can see the stream on the top left is the input of fossil fuels in the island. As you see, is the very most big input that we have in the energy system, and in the lower side we have the outputs of the system. And in the right side, you see this quite big stream that are the losses of the system. That's most of all because when you use fossil fuel, the most energy you generate is just heating. That here we cannot use most of it. So it's loss of energy that comes from the fossil fuel. So with this data, we start working, and we centered on those 7 points that we see here. Is renewable generation, storage and support, land mobility, efficiency in response, smart grids, smart markets, and the Menorca energy community. About renewable generation, after the calculations coming from the data and the objectives that we saw before, we got those numbers you see here. We need a lot of PV plants, some wind, and also those self-consumption next to the urban environment. After that, also you need a lot of storage, a lot for us, it's 400 megawatt hour, and maybe other technologies that came during the process that are not still very developed here, but if they appear, we can of course use them. Regarding to land mobility, to decarbonize the energy system in the part that affects the land mobility, we of course need electric mobility. At the right side, we need alternative systems for the transport. Is not only to change old cars by electric ones. We need to change our mobility. And that means that we need the role that's in the center, that's about public incentive planning to give subsidies on where we want to improve something. Regarding to efficiency and demand response, we centered on the 4 sectors that we have, which are the most important in Menorca in terms of energy consumption. Households, services sector, industry, and primary sector. Especially in households is one of the biggest points to work on. We have a lot of work on energy rehabilitation of buildings. We have very old constructions and very bad isolations. So it's one of the points where we have to push. The other things are more or less the common anywhere. So more for us because we have a lot of sun. So we want to improve the photovoltaic self-consumption in buildings, and well, always with other implementations of other facilities about energy efficiency. Sorry. In services sector is more or less the same, but we have to center, as we are a public administration, we have been centered a lot in the three on the right, the 3 points on the right that are public services, public lighting, and water cycle management. We don't have rivers here, so we have all our water is coming from wells, and that makes that we have a lot of flexibility that we can use about that. We're having wells and places to store the water that we extract from the well before the consumption. We can manage a lot of energy. In the industry, there are a lot of things to do on that also, especially again the self-consumption on roofs and parking lots of the industries. PPAs also, storage, biomass, consumption monitoring, a lot of things that improve the efficiency of the industry, and also can help on can modify its demand response, so they can help the grid to be more efficient. In the primary sector, it's not a very big consumer, but a lot of farmers. There's a lot of fossil fuel consumption on this sector. So with renewable machinery and biomass for thermal use, we estimate we can achieve our objective in this sector. After that, we also need to work on the grid. The grid has to change from a traditional grid coming for a generation plant to consumers. It has to change it into a smart grid. A smart grid is the same grid, but in which you can get energy from the grid or put energy inside the grid with self-consumption facilities, for example, or PV plants or other renewable energy facilities. But also the consumers are not only consumers and can give some services to the grid, like just disconnecting their consumptions, stop consuming energy, using their batteries to give service to the grid. For example, if they with an aggregator, if you have problems in frequency, you can use a lot of batteries at the same time to solve it. And are services that the consumers can give to the grid. So they, in the time that we made the roadmap, there was a word that was very used. That was the prosumer. Change the word consumer for prosumer, so you can give services to the grid. Those smart grids, and in a smart market, that if you give all those services that they come into the grid, then you have to be paying for it. So it's another thing to implement the smart markets. And last, the Menorca Energy Community that aims to be like the people of the island, be its own producer for energy and own the facilities and be like have the feeling of owning something together and be part of the energy system, not just a consumer that buys electricity. And the most fancy thing we did was these top 10 strategic measures. So very like commercial web, let's say. Okay, nice things, and we are working for them. So it's just like the word top 10. It's some commercial word, I think. But at the end, when we finish the strategy, we foresaw how should it work at the beginning, 2020, 2025, and 2030. Now we are in 2025. So what's happening now? Well, we are in 2026, but we made the monitoring in 2025. So now we have the plan, we have to implement, and let's see what happens. I have here some slides that I call them implementation and monitoring facts, because there are things that I think probably anywhere they will happen. Not the same issues, but there will be issues. So the first one is reality is not what we planned, and monitoring is essential. We need the monitoring so we can know where we are in the process in each moment. So we need it. In our case, if we compare for the foreseen stage, we said we should have a double underwater cable working. It's planned, but we have only the first cable working. 35% of renewable energy cover. We are 16.9. Well, not so bad, but it's in orange because it's probably this in 2026 we will be more over the objective, so it's not, this is not so bad. Batteries, we wanted to have 200 megawatt hour, and we have only 3.3, so it's like a big disaster at this point. Thermal plant working with natural gas is working with diesel, so another disaster. The last point, we wanted 15% of reduction of fossil fuel in land transport. We are still far from it. So the second fact is that the actions depend on lots of factors, but we can control all of them. So what happens here in our own disasters? The double underwater cable, it depends on the government, the Spanish government, and the planification of the TSO. So we can call them a lot, we can send a lot of mails and a lot of requests, but at the end, we depend on them. So we call them a lot, and that's what we are doing. Batteries. When we made the plan on 2019, it was foreseen to have a new regulation on batteries, on how to pay for them and how to manage them. We are still waiting for it. Now the last comments are that it will come next April. Let's hope it. Natural gas in the thermal plant. The regulations of the country don't push it, so then the private company that has to do it won't spend so much money to do that. And at the end, maybe it was a point in our plan that is not, has maybe not a lot of sense, because we are an island, we have no gas here, and we have to send the gas with ships from the mainland. So it's not ships that usually don't use gas and use fuels and other things. So maybe it has no sense. After that, the reduction in fossil fuel in land transport. Well, we have not had the hoped electric vehicle penetration, so we have not the reduction that we wanted. Then another fact is that implementing it's a constant replanning. So I come back to the ladder that we showed at the beginning. We are always going up and down the ladder, all the time. So what we have to do? We have no cable, so we have to improve the flexibility of the consumption in the island, and other many things that here just I wrote one of the points. We need more batteries. Also, flexibility is the point, and also call a lot to the ministry if they can at last have the regulation. Thermal plant. Well, we have no gas, but we can improve other things to make it work less hours at the end of the year. We have no electric vehicle, so we have to, in the plan or cite it, just campaigns about to promote it, incentive, subsidies, anything. And the last point is that the clean energy transition plans must be adaptable. So as you don't know everything that is going to happen, you have to be able to change the plans and adapt them. And the second point is not, we are not talking about the Holy Bible, it's just a plan. A plan is a plan. The important thing is the objective, not the plan. So if we can, you have to change the plan, it's not a big problem. We have not be afraid of that. So, like coach reflection, let's say, don't get frustrated later if the plan fails, because it's much better to have it than not have it. So if you have a plan, you can change it. If you don't have a plan, you won't do nothing. Okay, then that's all from my side. Thank you.
The last word. Yes, reflect. And see that the political decision making is also very important to get things to happen.
Sorry, because I didn't hear you very well. Sorry.
And political decisions need to be there also to get things to happen.
Yes. You need in the planning, and then when you start to implement, you need also the political decisions to make the plan work. And for example, we need the regulations in some things that we cannot do it, or the planification of the underwater cable. We need them also. So it's hard, but at the end it has to work.
You have any questions?
I have a question about wind power. I don't know anything about the Mediterranean Sea. What about, do you have any plans for more wind power, or how does it look?
For more wind power, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
So plans for wind power?
Yes, we have in our calculations, we have a lot of photovoltaics, because of course we have more sun than anything else. And some wind farms on land, but only with one wind farm we have the numbers that we need. But now it's moving for a offshore plant, offshore facility. But it's not the best place to do it, because we have or a lot of wind or lack of wind. So we don't have, for example, like you have in Denmark, it's always like the same amount of wind all day, all the year. We have like here wind storms or nothing. And at the end, again in the sea, we have it's very deep. When you go maybe 5 miles from the coast, you are 1,000 meters of deep. So it's not easy to do that. And we are now it's starting to think on floating windmills, but it's not foreseen at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, interesting. Anything else? No. Yes, thanks a lot, Edward.